I don't know what it was like back in the day, but older than that. But I know what it was like growing up as a child, and that's the way it was. And it was actually a lot easier then to commit fraud. However, you never really heard about it unless you lived in the hood, and nobody said anything about it because that's just the way it was. You know what I mean? I remember sometimes, my mom would buy cigarettes with them. You know what I mean? And it's nothing for the people that are taking in the SNAP benefits at these stores because they're gonna get a check for it anyway. Real be real. So does it really do that? Because we're looking at so much fraud surrounding these government subsidies, these things like SNAP benefits. I know it's running rampant in Medicare. It's all these things that the government is pushing out, like they're bigger government, bigger spending things, and don't get me wrong, there are people in need that need these things, right? So I'm not opposed to having these kinds of services. However, when they're done in the way that they're done now, and now store owners can just show up and be like, hey, by the way, obviously the federal government had never been inside that store, or excuse me, the state government had never been inside that store to see what kind of store they have. So how could they even, they must have got a tip, something that to that degree. In my personal opinion, maybe I'm wrong, and it could be totally wrong. Well, I mean, maybe not, but maybe the government now is using their common sense to see the amount that's coming out of there. However, they could have prevented this by sending somebody over there during the process of getting set up and saying, hey, look, you don't have a whole lot of food here, because listen to what she says. And guaranteed the one guy started doing it and was like, hey, bro, I got the hustle for you. Check this out, dude. And we're going to take some of that money. We're going to buy some cryptocurrency, okay? Because they can't track it in Bitcoin, dude. So if we just take the money out right away and we'll launder it through crypto, okay? I'm just telling you, bro. You need to get on game, dude. When I'm not here to handle it for the people on the 1st or the 6th of the month, or whenever they run them benefits, you know what I mean? I'm gonna need you to do it, man. But here's the deal: we're gonna split it no matter what, guaranteed.
They were not full-service groceries. It would be a huge stretch to even call them convenience stores. In fact, the only thing convenient about these stores was how easy it was to commit SNAP benefit fraud.